Today, we're making kind of a feast. A Martha Stewart Polish feast. Huh? Just not gonna give up without a fight. So hello everyone, welcome back to my home. It's our home too, right? This is Jamie and Chef, cooking chef recipes out of the cookbooks that I own, such as the Martha Stewart cookbook. Collected recipes for every day. I know she's not really a chef, it's Martha Stewart. She's like a businesswoman, entrepreneurial type, TV shows and cookbooks, and calling it Jamie and the Entrepreneur doesn't have the same ring to it, so I'm gonna stick with Jamie and Chef, but thank you. And when you're looking through the book, you can just tell how many Polish recipes are in here. Because her mom was Polish, she's got a Polish background, so that makes sense. I've chosen 3 to make today for our feast. Firstly, cabbage pierogi. I love pierogies, so does Martha. Of all the Polish dishes I love, my very favorite is cabbage pierogi. This is a Martha Stewart mom recipe here, so yeah, it's on the menu. Next up, borscht, which is like a beet soup. Funny thing is that my mother-in-law also has a Polish background. Her parents were Polish. And there are 3 different borscht recipes in this book. So I sent all 3 to her and asked her, what do you think? Like, which one should I make? And she wasn't very helpful. Actually, here is what she said. Neither of them are traditionally Polish. It's 5 exclamation marks. That is a really weird recipe. We used to put about 1/3 of a cup of sour cream in at the end. 3 exclamation marks. I don't think you can call that borscht. 3 exclamation marks. So without her help, I chose the iced borscht. Once a humble peasant soup, borscht takes on a new delicacy when the ingredients are finely pureed. Good to know. And thirdly, we're making potato pancakes. Pretty self-explanatory. I've made 2 other iterations of potato pancakes on this channel before, Julia Child's, and then I made the Belarus national dish, draniki. Anyway, gonna make it again because I love it. Let's get to work. All right, so I'm gonna start off with cabbage here. She says I need 10 pounds worth if I were to follow this full recipe, which is 8 dozen dumplings, pierogis. It's like 96. If I was entertaining, that would be making sense to me, but not right now. So I'm gonna quarter the recipe for the filling of the dumplings here. So instead of 10 pounds, I need 2.5. So let me quarter the cabbage. Also remove the core. Not gonna need this. Big pot full of boiling water. On goes my steamer. In goes the cabbage. Steam the cabbage 20 to 30 minutes. Lid goes on, bowl me. Not gonna waste time, I'm gonna do more things. So what I'm gonna do is make the dough for our dumplings, and I'm not gonna make 8 dozen dumplings worth of dough. I'm going to half it. Half a cup of milk, half a cup of water. So I'm just gonna whisk an egg. And then, hilariously enough, I only need half of it. 1.5 tablespoons of sour cream. That is 1.5 tablespoons. So give that a good whisk. And now I have 2.5, 2.25 cup worth of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna add in a cup at a time, mixing after each addition. Let's start with the whisk, but then we'll promote ourselves to a spatula. Add in another cup. It's cool, you served your purpose, thank you. How about you, Chuck? And now we can just mix that. So I need a dough that is smooth and elastic, so I'm gonna turn it on to a floured surface, but there's enough dry flour in there to make that a floured surface. So this should take around 10 minutes to knead this. I'm looking for smooth and elastic, and she says to add as little flour as possible. Just the flour on the surface and the flour that is all sticky here. 10 minutes. All right, let's ditch the cutting board. Let's say that's smooth and elastic. Dough into a dough ball, bowl on top, off to the side until I need it. Okay, so once the cabbage has been steamed, drain and cool. Never mind. Can we do something else here? Oh, didn't see you there. We're moving on to our borscht. And I'm gonna guess that's around a medium beet. Perfect. So I need 6 medium beets. So I have put together a ragtag group of beets here. Some are small, some are medium. In total, this is gonna equal what I'm looking for. So they have been washed, but I'm keeping them peeled. Wrapped up in tin foil, just like so, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 minutes until tender. Into the oven, that is. Hello. So I'm gonna take some of this steamed cabbage, which is cooled off completely, get it into a towel, and then I need to squeeze out as much liquid as I possibly can, just a handful at a time. I can't imagine how long this would take if I was making the whole recipe, but right now, just standing here, it's like 20 minutes, squeezing cabbage. Dreams are happening. So I got my squeezed cabbage here, and she tells me to grind it through a fine blade of a meat grinder, which I do not have. But I have all sorts of crazy contraptions in this kitchen. Beam in the whiz, kid. I got a plan. Okay, so I am going to use this very dangerous piece to the food processor. Yes, I may have sliced my thumb nearly all the way off earlier this year with it. So we're not gonna talk about that, but we're gonna use it. And I want to kind of replicate what Martha's after here, which is passing this through a meat grinder, but I think if I just pass it through these things here, I think we should be right as rain. So get it on, all the way. That was loud. Just like very finely shredded. It looks fantastic for steamed cabbage. Can I have we're gonna need a bowl. Thank you. So what that all came down to here is around 1 pound, 6 ounces. Toss in a tablespoon of softened butter, 4 tablespoons of softened cream cheese, coarse kosher salt, black pepper for the win. Mix that all together. The beets were in the oven. Martha said 40 minutes, 75 minutes. So they gotta be fork tender. So I just have to have this cool before I work with it. Okay, that dough is ready for prime time. So this is what I gotta do now, is put the pierogies together. Flour up my board, and I split the dough like, I don't know, half or in quarters or however much you would like to work with right now. And here we go. So I'm looking for a dough that is 1/16 of an inch thick. So thin, very thin. 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so bring over the cookie cutters. You need the 3-incher. So now you gotta stretch the dough. And I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons of filling. Terrible, terrible start. She wants to go with a 3-incher, but I'm thinking maybe a 4, maybe the 4, because I thought that was a bit tiny for what I needed. Stretch that out. I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons of my cabbage filling into the center. Like the gyoza that I made a month or 2 ago, we gotta fold it in half into a half circle shape. Just put enough filling that feels right. So that's around a tablespoon and tablespoon and a half. I think that's good. Fold the circle in half. I'm just gonna keep doing this until I either run out of dough or filling, or both. Now what Martha does is crimp the edges with her fingertips into a decorative pattern, but I'm gonna go with a fork. And then we gotta fork it all around the edges. Like that, I take this little guy right here onto a baking sheet lined with some cornmeal. All right, I was looking at these and some of them are drying out, so I quickly wrap them up in plastic wrap. I'm gonna keep them in the fridge until I'm ready for the next step. I'm going on a hydration break, thanks to today's sponsor, Liquid IV. It's an electrolyte drink mix, and I was gonna reach for a coffee for a pick-me-up, but nah, I want some vitamins, some electrolytes, because I'm parched. I wanna feel refreshed. Whether you're running a marathon or just running late for work, you reach for a Liquid IV hydration multiplier. These sticks are easy to take anywhere. It's chock full of nutrients and vitamins, and it's a faster hydration than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes than leading sports drinks. So the new popsicle firecracker flavor is delicious. It tastes as it sounds. So awesome. I had the firecrackers on the regular as a kid. It's a nostalgic flavor for me. So now I'm beating the heat, staying refreshed and hydrated, and mourning the life that is now behind me. It was good, and so is this. So let's all avoid dehydration. Check out Liquid IV. New customers can use my discount code antichef for 20% off your order. Thank you, Liquid IV. Continuing on with the borscht, I got an onion and a carrot. The medium onion that I need to finely mince. Peel a couple carrots. Finely grate. Since I'm halving the recipe, I probably don't need both carrots, so you can eat this part. And let's bring the beet back to the beets. She says I need to peel them. That's gonna be easy. Okay. Okay, so this is what we gotta do. Julia over here says that we need to grate, Martha over here, love you Julia, tells me that I need to grate up these beets. And I'm kind of like, huh? With this? I don't want to do that. It's just going to be a mess, and yeah, it just doesn't seem like a pleasant experience. So I figure if I just do the same thing I did with the cabbage, which means let's beam in the whiz kid. Let's beam it in. Thank you. The beet needs to be the right size to fit in there, but this is gonna work. Oh, it's gonna work. This is the kind of things that happen when you make a soup out of beets. Things are gonna get a bit messy. I got blood on my hands. The timing is impeccable. I hope everyone was okay. I didn't do it. Heat's got to get on. How about a Dutch oven, I'm thinking, because it's going to be big enough to contain everything that's about to happen. There's a lot of beets. Half a tablespoon of butter, my minced onion, and my grated carrots. Okay, so I got to saute this up for 10 minutes before we do anything. So after 10 minutes, in go the beets. Without the blade in there. Okay, now sprinkle in around a tablespoon of sugar. You may have picked up by now that we haven't been using any meat today, and that trend is not gonna change for the rest of this day, except the closest thing will be 3 cups of chicken stock. Give that a big stir. Okay, so 20 to 30 minutes, split the diff, 25 minutes. Lid on or off, Martha? She doesn't specify. Now I had this thing simmering, now I've let it cool off completely. She says to either puree it up in the food processor, whiz kid, or the food mill house. I'm not gonna do either because with the whiz kid, it's just too small for the amount I have. I don't wanna make a huge mess. And I know I could do it in batches, but I don't feel like it. And then with the food mill, I just don't want to use that. It's a chore. So I'm gonna use the immersion blender. I don't have a nickname for it. Jesus. That's as smooth as I can get it. So now I need 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then a good seasoning of salt, freshly cracked pepper. Give that a little taste, see what it's all about. No, it doesn't need any more, anything. So that is our borscht. That needs to chill. So Martha has no mention of this little thing that I'm gonna do here, but we're gonna go back to the pierogies for a second. Just envision those on a plate with some caramelized onions on the very top. Yeah, like that, perfect, great. Let's get like a tablespoon of butter. Yeah, get the back burner going. Those onions go in, like on a low medium heat, and I'm gonna caramelize them. I don't know, until they have a nice golden brown to them, you know? Big pot, whoa. And I'm going over in, shoot. Don't take your eyes off the onions. Medium heat, you out of your mind, go into low heat. And now let's move on to our potato pancakes. So can I have a bowl to start? Thank you. And I'm gonna fill that up with cold water. And we're just gonna keep that there. Potato, big enough, holy hell. Thank you. So 2 russets. All right, so peel. So what I gotta do here is coarsely grate the potato. How about just doing exactly that? The grated potato can go in the bowl with the cold water. The thing going on with this recipe here is she doesn't actually tell me to dunk the potatoes in a bowl of cold water, not in this particular potato pancake recipe. But from experience, I know if I don't do this, these potatoes are just gonna turn brown like immediately. So don't want that. Now I gotta play a bit of a game of like bowl musical chairs here. Bowl me with a colander. So drain well over a colander, and then potatoes go into another bowl. So skimming the foamy residue off the liquid, which is the potato starch, in with the potatoes. She says to discard the liquid, but I'm just gonna keep it off to the side in case these potatoes start to turn brown and I need it fast, you know? I'm gonna grate up an onion, finely or coarsely. Let's go with fine. Grating up only half an onion because I'm halving the recipe. So the onion can go in with the potatoes. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of onion. So I am going to use another half an onion. I get that in with the potatoes. So in the bowl, an egg slightly beaten, 1.5 tablespoons of flour. Get some salt in there also, some freshly cracked black pepper. And then this is a fun ingredient, beer. I'm very intrigued by this. She doesn't specify what type of beer, so I just picked up a Polish beer, Tiski. It's like a lager. I only need 1/4 cup worth. That also goes in with the potatoes. Very, very intrigued. Give that a good stir. Trying to figure out what pan to use for my potato pancakes because she's asking for a heavy skillet. Fair enough, I have a couple of those. Or you could just use a large frying pan, but I'm thinking, because I have it, I'm gonna use it. My big ass griddle. You know what? That's not gonna work. I'm gonna use my large frying pan because I need 1/4 inch deep of oil in this pan. For all the vegetable oil haters out there, I know there's quite a few of you, including my own body. I get it, but this is what Martha's asking for, so I'm gonna use it. Okay, 1/4 cup worth of mixture. I don't know how this works with this much oil. Martha, flatten it, and don't touch it for like 3 minutes. How is that gonna work? I feel like this recipe has way too much damn oil in it. It just doesn't seem right. She says 1/4 inch of oil in the pan. That was just way too much. So I've like half that, even more so. And I think that will be sufficient. I don't know what the hell is going on with the 1/4 inch of oil. I can't talk. 3 minutes per side. all the things I've made today, the potato pancakes is the only thing I've made twice before, and I'm suffering. And I have a feeling it's just got something to do with Martha's recipe and how much oil I'm using, because it's tearing the potato pancakes apart. Drain some of the liquid from this potato pancake batter and see if kind of form it into a patty, and then into a fresh pan with some oil, not as much as I've been using. All right, that's enough oil to cover the base of the pan. And I have this on a moderately high heat, 3 minutes per side. That's what I'm talking about. Too much liquid in the batter. And I've used less oil in a fresh, new, hot pan, and things are going extremely well. So on to a baking tray lined with paper towel. Keep those suckers warm in the oven on the lowest temperature possible. Okay, that wasn't that much fun. Shall we move on? So with these pierogies here, I got some really nice looking shapes like this one. That is beautiful, it's like a seashell. And then I have some pretty crap ones like that. I won't go in for a close-up. So I'm gonna add around a tablespoon of salt into my pot of boiling water. I can cook up to 20 at a time, but I only need, I'll cook 10. I got everything else going on too, right? Pierogies go in. Don't stick together, don't stick together. In simmering water 5 to 6 minutes until they become tender. They need to start floating. Carefully and drain onto a serving dish. They're much bigger than they were before I added them into the water. So, okay. Drizzle some melted butter on top of these suckers. For now, this is just the start of my melted butter journey. There'll be more down the road. So Martha's mentioned dill a couple times today, not with the pierogies, but I thought that would be a nice little touch. So next up, we got the borscht. Whew. It has chilled, holy hell. So a cup of sour cream into the soup. Give that a good whisk, get all that sour cream up in there, into my bowl. Cubed cucumber, and then some chopped dill. And now let's send a photo of this to the mother-in-law, see what she says while we prep the next dish. Finally, the potato pancakes. I wish I had more, but you saw how things went. So get your nicest potato pancakes and a dollop or two of sour cream on top. And then our pierogies, more melted butter, and my caramelized onions with more sour cream. And then just decorate with any leftover dill you have, here, there, everywhere. Order up. Sour cream is a must. Oh la la. I loved every single thing that's in front of me right now, or was in front of me. I love that, I love that, I love that. The thing that gave me the biggest headache today was the potato pancakes. Just because of Martha's recipe using that much oil, along with the pancake batter, it wasn't binding together, it wasn't sticking together because there's too much liquid in there. I could have squeezed the potatoes to extract more liquid. I could have eased up on the beer, although the beer was nice. Anyway, we figured it out by trusting and
following our instincts. Pierogies.
Cabbage filling in those pierogies was to die for. You can overdo it with the thickness of the dough in pierogies, and I know I probably did with some of them that didn't make the cut on the plate, but we're talking about the ones that were on the plate. And I thought they were perfect. There's nothing to improve. I thought it was great. After you boil the pierogies, I know you can fry them up also so that they have a little crunch to them. A little more flavor on the outside, but honestly, I prefer it this way, so no regrets. And then the borscht. The borscht. Because it was cold, it was like a nice refreshing contrast to this right here. And, you know, strong flavor of the beets. Got a little sourness to it because there was lemon in there, right? There was lemon. The borscht is It's lovely. Not much to complain about in here today. Thank you very much, Martha. Thank you very much for watching. This was Jamie and Martha. Bon appetit. See you later. Adios. Just not gonna give up without a fight. Pierogies. I know, plural-wise, it is pierogi. Pierogi is pierogi. I know, there's gonna be a lot of comments left for me for that one, but it just kind of slips out, you know? Pierogies.